Hello, welcome back to Lorehammer. My name is Eric.
I'm Trevor Buzak.
That's Mark joining us. Thank you, Mark. Also joining us today, we have Rio.
Hey, guys.
Good to have you back.
Tau expert, of course.
No, not Tau. He's just a Tau lover.
Yeah.
Sympathize.
I just know how they think. I can think like a Tau.
Yeah. And then also joining us, we have James.
Our resident Jimothy.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right. The way you know what's in the Tau's mind is because there's a little hole right in the
You
front.
can just see.
You can just stick your fingers in there.
And then
feel it.
you find out what's going on. Yeah.
You can feel their thoughts.
That makes sense.
That's
to me.
canon. That's now canon.
Before we get started on today's episode, which is all about the Tau in between spheres 2 and 3 of expansion, we want to thank our plethora of new Patreon patrons.
I've been harassing people so hard.
Yeah, you
Just
have.
yelling at people on the street.
Did you pay money to Lorehammer yet?
Yeah, it's been good.
Seems
It
to be
helps
working.
that you're not wearing pants, too.
Oh yeah, balls out.
People will
It's-
give you money if you don't have pants.
Oh yeah, they'll just leave you alone for sure. Or
It's a fear tactic.
Yeah. What is he going to do? I don't know.
Yeah.
He's not wearing pants.
Just run away. Take the money. Anyways, I'm just going to say thank you to all of these people. As always, guys, save your applause to the end of the list.
unless we really get moved by a name, in
That's
which
right,
case.
So here we go. Thanks to all these new patrons. Thank you to Bruger Coltrane, Shane, Jacob, David, Billy, Joshua,
Bailey.
Fixin' Your Hurts, Andreas,
Waggleschner.
Waglichner, Marius, John, Stephen, Lewis, Stanton, Ollie, Amy, Jim, Decimus, John, Brandon, Delkin, Nerbteneb, Ersatz, Dervinkler, and Ian.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Mostly
you.
to Ian.
It really means a lot. We're like right on the verge of being able to do this like as a full-time job for us. So if you want like weekly episodes, more content, watch us play video
No
games.
ads.
No ads is a big one.
Yeah.
Donate, help us out. Like if all our listeners, even if a quarter gave us $1 a month, like we could do this as a full-time job.
Yeah.
Right now we're sitting at 1%, so shame on everyone. Shame on the 99%, as we say.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
And
Normally,
we glorify the 1%.
that's right. No, like this podcast
That's,
likes to take things, put them on their head.
Yeah.
Right. Like
yeah.
we're shunning the 99 and join us.
Yeah, join
right?
the
So,
1%.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
No, we really do appreciate it. If you can spare $1, it honestly goes a long way if you got a bunch of people doing it. So if you want more Lorehammer content, more regular, more different.
Get everyone to contribute.
Yeah, exactly. So
Contribute.
thanks a lot. Okay, there's our rant.
Yep. All right. Speaking of money,
But this one's good. This
one's
for
good.
the fans.
Exactly. What we have done for you is we have created a set of Lorehammer limited edition,
Exclusive.
first release
Sexy. Sleek. Numbers.
dice.
Dice.
Weighted. They're weighted dice.
dice. Do you want to be perfectly average like Lorehammer?
That's
Get these
right.
dice. You roll
Yeah.
3s and 4s all day.
So what we did is we got some dice printed, a bunch of D6s, and they have Lorehammer's symbol where the 6 is, and it's engraved in there, and it looks
Yeah,
really
they're like
good.
they're like red and black kind of
Marbly.
with
Yeah.
gold pips on them.
gold pip.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Check out if
love
you
pips.
want. If you want pictures, check out our Facebook, check out our Instagram. We'll put some pictures on there so you guys can see them.
Yeah.
But we're selling them in things of 10, 15, and 20 for the prices of $15 for 10, $20 for 15, and $25 for 20.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you will have to include shipping
Yeah, because
depending on where you live.
we're not paying for shipping.
So
And those are Canadian dollar prices for the dice.
yeah. So they're pretty decently priced. Like we're not.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't buy
bought
dice.
that are more expensive. So
Yeah.
yeah, check them out. They're pretty sweet actually. I
Yeah.
bought a pair. I bought one.
Not
bought
for
one.
yourself.
No, I gave them away instantly because they kept rolling ones.
Yeah. Well,
But-
you bought the wrong weighted
Yeah.
dice.
But yeah, check them out. We'll include links and whatever, and you guys can set that up. And
Yeah.
Limited edition. So,
Limited edition.
Don't wait on 'em.
We only have 500 dice, and if everyone buys
really
packs,
have that many?
yeah. But just think about it. If everyone buys packs of 25,
Yeah.
that's only
going to sell out pretty fast, I think.
4 times 5. That's only 20 packs that we're selling then.
Okay.
So that's quick.
So get them quick.
That's
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And those
are going to go.
like in a pack of dice. Oh, and there's 16 mils. I don't know if that. Right? There's 16.
They're like medium size. You got like the standard GW that are like the small. Then you got to step up, and then you got like the gambling. So they're medium size.
okay,
dice
medium. Sure.
is what I would.
Or they're
kinda,
12. I don't know. Whatever they are, you'll see in the picture.
Yeah, they're dice.
Eric will put his
Dice.
foot in. As
I'll put a
comparison.
banana for scale.
Go your foot.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Go check that out.
Yeah,
Get on it while it's hot.
that's right.
All right, next thing on the table, we got our community corner. So if you have something in the 40K community you want to give a shout out to, if you have your own podcast that you're doing, or you want to shout out to your Instagram page, or whatever it is, our only requirement is that it is 40K, and that's about it. So today's community corner is the Narrative Wargamer Podcast. So it is a non-competitive 40K podcast with a focus on fun and narrative play, hobby news, and campaign gameplay. The show aims to help players discover new ways to play 40K as we discuss fun and exciting gameplay over optimal list building and meta tactics. There's a wealth of narrative play content to explore in your games, and we cover topics such as battle zone environments, open war mission cards, cities of death, aerial dogfighting, and much more. If you enjoy casual games of 40K and want to try something new outside of the match play, the Narrative Wargamer Podcast is for you.
Pew pew pew.
Pew, pew.
And
So
we will link the podcast in our notes.
yeah, Narrative Wargamer Podcast. So I actually listened to one of them. The one I listened to was it was 10 rules you should try to introduce into your 40K games.
Oh,
And
what was your favorite one?
my favorite one was, so command points are a big thing in 40K, but oftentimes command points are just like so overpowering, like, and they're like a standard thing.
Transhuman physiology.
Yeah, and like often you typically spam the same command point over and over and over every turn. Oh, this unit's always going to have a -1 hit. So the one rule I really liked was you can only use a stratagem once per game.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I thought that really changes the way the game works.
Even like the
have,
reroll ones?
those ones, I think those 3, like you have the 3 standard.
Yeah, there's the cover, the interrupt, and then the reroll.
I forget if it. I'm pretty sure just the reroll.
Just the reroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You
it
can
changes
only
the game.
interrupt once.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like that changes the game. So I thought that was a very cool rule. But yeah, it's very cool. Like they're just trying to put like a narrative spin onto how you can play your games, and yeah, it's cool. I wish we did more narrative stuff.
Yeah, we don't really do any narrative
No, we just
stuff.
like to yell
Yeah.
and sell merch.
Yeah. Well, you can't yell at each other in a narrative game because everything is just like, oh shit, the warp's here. You know, like,
Yeah.
so. But that sounds cool.
Yeah, check it out. The Narrative Wargamer Podcast. Go check them out.
Very, very
if
cool.
you have a community corner you want to send to us, just email it to lorehammerpodcast@gmail.com, and then
and we'll chat with you and we'll get it in here.
yeah, cool.
So
All
you guys have no limitation as long as it's 40K.
Yeah, and I guess the only other limitation would be you can't submit whatever you're thinking right now, James.
Yeah, James.
Whatever you
I
got
have- I have
in your
a-
mind.
I have a
James,
crazy
you take
mind.
your idea and you get the hell
Like,
out of here.
I know you're thinking furries because we just watched furry videos, so no furry 40K content. Space Wolf players, sorry.
James has
No.
opened an Etsy shop
Yeah.
where he sells Space Wolf furry costumes.
Damn,
Wow.
did we just shout it out? Shit.
Thank you. All proceeds go to my just diabolical lifestyle. So
It just goes all into executioner tanks, or whatever they're called.
I have 17.
Fuck.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun winning. I don't know. I like it.
I tried it and I like it.
James has been playing a lot of Iron Hands lately.
Yeah, well,
So.
I like W's better than L's. So
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Anything else before we really get into the meat?
No, let's hop
of
into
this?
the Tau Between Spheres.
Are you excited, Rio,
Yeah, I am.
between the two
to
spheres?
actually come and
Yeah.
chat with us about some 40K again?
I'm excited. Like, this episode is very different than anyone we've ever done. Like, we're following...
Yeah. This is
four-
much more specific than we normally get
Yeah.
into.
Yeah, we're following 4 specific battles, specific campaigns that include the Tau.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's cool kind of following the flow of the combat and
trying to understand what it was like for the Tau as they progressed these, like, I think it's 250 years in total roughly, or something from the time we're going to start to the time we're going to end the episode. So
yeah, here we go.
Let's dive right in. All right. So where we last left the Tau was at the end of the second sphere of expansion. And ending in 700 M41, the Tau race had just crossed the Damocles Gulf, an unnavigable and unforgiving area of space. When they finally emerged, they encountered humanity, who had already settled the planets on this edge of space. All right.
Yeah, so Tau Empire is growing. They're growing. Never eat shredded. They're growing westward.
Yeah,
galactically westward.
Galactic west.
Yeah, and
which is just closer to the center of the galaxy. Right?
Yeah. Because they're pretty much on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So, the effort required to convince these fringe human worlds to join the greater good was exhaustive, slow, slowing the second sphere to a crawl. I can't read. Effectively ending it.
Yeah. So. It seems like most of the times the Tau would find a race and want to bring them into the greater good. It seemed like a very cut and dry thing. Like, hey, look, you want to be in the greater good. You don't? Here's some fire warriors. Now how do you feel about being in the greater good?
Oh, there's a disease that suddenly started in your population.
Oh, this again.
No, exactly.
That again,
That's just how it goes.
Oh, there's an ethereal psychically peering into your mind.
But for some reason that tactic just, for whatever, either they didn't employ it or it just didn't seem to work against the humans. So the effort it took to bring the humans into the greater good slowed down the second sphere of expansion so much they just halted it because they weren't expanding anymore. They were like, well, this is a long game for us.
Yeah, that, and they still had like really no light speed ability, like to do any type of travel. It's just
even to cross the Damocles Gulf was like an amazing feat.
Yeah, exactly. So
we're going to talk about convincing the human worlds. So this was done by water caste members actively living among the humans on their planets, joining courts or governments, forging alliances, until the human population began trading with the Tau Empire.
Yeah,
that sounds like heresy to me.
It is super heresy, and that's the interesting thing is they were able to create relationships between the Tau and the humans that were better than between the humans and the other humans.
Doesn't take much. Diplomacy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
a lot of these worlds, philosophy. A lot of these worlds, are like on the fringe of the human empire. So it's just like, they're probably not getting a lot of support anyways. So
the taxman visits once every 10 years.
Yeah. So the negotiations were so skillfully done that the planets with a Tau presence began to view the Empire in a more favorable light than the Imperium themselves. The final goal of this was a success. Many of these planets, initially wary of outright hostile would join the Tau Empire and accept the greater good.
Yeah, so they were so seditious in planting themselves into the human world. It is.
My God.
We know there's something sinister happening. Yeah. You and your little lovey-dovey with your slit women. We're not accepting it, okay?
Yeah, you show up with
you
big
take Shadow Sun and you get the hell out of here.
She's growing a nose. She's probably got a human ancestor. She's mixed race.
But yeah, they were so good at what they were doing. Like it was 100% peaceful transition for these planets. From being part of the Imperium to joining the greater good. But it did take a very, possibly generations for this.
Exactly.
So, alas, all good things must come to an end for Xeno's scum. And eventually
the real tone you're pushing here.
Hey, I wrote the note. And eventually the Imperium was alerted to this growing menace, this infestation of aliens. When the Inquisition began to investigate, they found planets already fallen to the Xenos propaganda. With this, they began to take action.
So there's the Imperium point of view.
That's right.
Now let's talk about the Tau point of view.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
No.
Just wrong. Yeah. Yeah, the Taus would, they've been living and partnering with these planets, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, the big brothers are here and they're seeing everything that's going on and they don't like it.
Yeah. Some would say evil human race is here, going to genocide us all.
Good.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh God.
According to the emperor, who is
Yeah.
the god emperor,
That's
that's
right.
that's moral. So
It is good and right.
I see no
According to the
I see no
emperor.
flaw in that
Right.
logic.
Right.
I just recently watched Kingdom of Heaven. I don't know if anyone's seen it.
It's the
I
Orlando
hate
Bloom.
that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hate that movie?
I hate that movie.
You son of a bitch.
Isn't it like the position
It's
of the
good.
eagle or
Yes.
something?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's how you sword
But
fight.
it's just funny.
It's
like-
enjoyable. It's all about the Crusades.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's
But
pretty.
it's just
it's
like
pretty dirty.
lots of
which is
people
nice.
yelling, "God will it, God
Yeah.
wills it," and all that kind of stuff. It's quite enjoyable.
Huh.
It almost made me want to become a Christian. You know, just-
Because you could just kill people
Yeah.
as long as you had a religious reason
exactly.
for it, right?
Like it was delightful to think about. but-
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
But
That is
unfortunately,
that's
some-
also the best. That's my thought in the best reason of being a Christian as well.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
having
But
a religious
unfortunately,
excuse for any violence you might perpetrate.
somebody stole my sword, so ultimately that's what ended my initiation into
No
Christian-
crusades for you,
Yeah.
hey?
So
Thank goodness.
It is a thank goodness moment, isn't it?
That was a digression if I ever.
it was a
heard
good
one.
movie. Go watch it,
It's not.
and then subscribe to our Patreon.
it's not a good movie.
Why don't you like it?
First of all, I took a history course once, so
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
I
makes
don't know what
sense.
that means.
it means it was just like
It means what?
There was
what
a
does
lot
he
of
always
garbage
say
in that
about
movie.
300.
300 is the most historically accurate.
Yes.
Kingdom of Heaven is not historically accurate.
Yeah.
And I'll
Heard
fight
it.
anyone who wants to debate me on that.
Oh,
no
we
debating,
got
I
another
just fight
mantis
'em.
shrimp. We got another mantis shrimp on our hands.
Oh God.
I love
Okay.
mantis shrimp.
Yeah, don't talk to James
Don't
about
talk to me
them.
about those shrimp.
Those GD shrimps.
Okay. We're leaving it at that. Moving along.
So humans showed up. The Imperium realized what was happening on the borders of their empire, and
Yeah.
they showed up.
Now they're nervous.
Yeah. So officially started in 742 M41 by the order of Cardinal Isu Gunnery of the Brimlock. The Damocles Crusade had begun.
Yeah, so the ecclesiarchy called this crusade most likely at the behest of the Inquisition.
Yeah, the Inquisition goes, checks out those planets. There's a lot of Xenos on the
There's
planet.
a lot of Xenos.
Yeah. Needs some purging.
Needs a good old-fashioned crusade, if you know what I mean.
I like that.
So,
When-
employing 5 provisional companies of Space Marines, made up from a dozen chapters, including the Iron Hands, Black Templar, Size of the Emperor, Ultramarines, Subjugators, Nova Marines, Red Hunters, and the Hammers of Dorn, among others. So a total of 500 Marines.
That's a lot of Marines.
That's a lot of Marines in one place at one time.
Yeah. They also had 19 Imperial Guard regiments participate, with 7 from the Brimlock Dragoons and the Brimlock Fusiliers, which is where that Cardinal Isu Gunnery came from.
Esau.
Sorry. The Crusade also had regiments of Rakashan rifles, and a call also went out to the Cadian 18th, although they would not arrive in time for the Crusade.
They missed all the best parts.
But they still had a good time when they did arrive.
Oh, they still had a good time in the warp.
So they also drew from the Legio Titanicus Thanateris, as well as many Imperial void ships, even up to the Retribution class battleship.
Which is the biggest?
I'm pretty sure it's the biggest.
Yeah. So this was a big deal,
Yeah.
this Damocles Crusade. And you just think about how big the Tau Empire was. Like, they're small potatoes. And this is a pretty decent size
Yeah, like
of Imperial force.
yeah, Imperial Guard regiments can have like hundreds of thousands
In a
their
single regiment.
potentially. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it depends on the world, and they never give you a number. But if
Yeah.
you kind of branch it out, they're big. There's a lot of guys here.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense to me, though, because I think they understand the threat here. Because it's not the Tau themselves, it's the philosophy. And when they see their own humans, like,
Yeah.
turning,
Yeah.
You could also make the argument that they've seen gene stealers and what that can do, like the gene stealer cult. Would they not have at this point?
They're afraid that all the women are afraid that all the men are going to start banging Tau. They're afraid that they're getting cut out of the.
Thanks for bringing us back to that.
Have you
Mark.
seen Shadow's Sun? She's thick. She's so thick.
Thanks for focusing on that, Mark.
She's so.
Yeah, I definitely prefer looking at it through Rio's lens. Is that the Imperium is just there's a fear, like of oh my god, like we cannot let this idea spread, like a toxic, just like some virus, going from human to human, spreading and
this idea of peace and getting along.
That's right. Get rid of it. Get the hell out of here.
I feel like if the Tau came through and they just rolled over those human planets and just killed them, they wouldn't have been as upset as the humans actually being
no, for
turned.
sure, because it would have turned the humanity against them, like from the beginning.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh no, there's like a real chance we might actually lose people. Like, let's really bring some power into here.
And to be honest, it is really the greatest weakness of the Imperium. I mean,
the fact that they don't care about it.
No, just that it's not really that great being a part of it. That's really its like greatest weakness.
Yeah,
because in terms of military power, like there's no one better. Maybe I mean, aside from like if you're counting Tyranids or something.
I wouldn't say there's anyone with humanity controls has the control of like the entire galaxy effectively.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, if people start turning, I mean, then you've got a problem.
Yeah, what good is all your power when the people holding the guns are the ones like they choose who they want to point at, right?
Horus heresy.
That's right. Goddamn Horus heretics. Mm-hmm. The Heretics of Horus.
So a crusade was launched. The effects of the crusade were felt in the Timbra subsector on the planet Garius and Cleast. Where humans were living among the aliens and had become acceptable.
Yeah. So that's where the Crusade decided for the first hammer to fall.
Yeah.
So the fleet arrives at the planet's garrison, Cleist, and its wrath among the Tau was swiftly felt. And the humans that fraternized with the aliens were rounded up and punished publicly before the Crusade.
Oof.
So it did this was kind of a throwaway line, but it painted this like crazy picture in my head. So 500 Space Marines, potentially like minimum 17,000 regiments of guard, but probably up to like the 100,000s of guard.
Yeah.
And these guys, any human on these planets that had fraternized with aliens are rounded up and punished publicly before all of those people. So all these Marines are laid out, right, or they're standing at like attention in front of you, and all these like regiments, and everyone's staring down at you as you're getting flogged.
Oh, that's what they're doing?
I just assumed they'd killed them.
It says punished though, like it's more like
shame.
There's more punishment.
Shame.
I told them not to do this. No, but like it's like think like a religious, like especially like old school Christianity, like the whipping was like a really big thing, and
there was probably some branding going on,
absolutely, or some maiming or mutilations, right? That's not outside the realm of possibility. But
for every alien that you traded with, we take one finger,
right? Like that's not an outlandish thing to think that the Imperium might do that.
Yeah.
So it was just this really cool image in my head of all these like stoic people, like lined up, and you just hear the screams of these people. It's just it really felt
it's very cool.
Yeah,
you like that?
It's such a great way to win them back.
Yeah, that's right. But it felt very Imperium to me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
With these colonies secure, the Crusade set its sights on the Hydras system.
Hydus.
There's no R.
No, there's none.
And readied itself for a conflict with the Tau Empire.
That's right. Time to take this fight to actual Tau planets.
Still having to contend with the Tau presence on the Imperium side of the Gulf. So, like, the empires are separated by the Damocles Gulf. Mm-hmm. So they're still on the Imperium side. They engage in a space battle and learn that the Tau had a surprisingly long range and powerful torpedoes. It was only thanks to the daring assault of an unnamed Space Marine strike cruiser at the heart of the Tau fleet that disrupted them enough for the remainder of the Crusade to drive them off.
Yeah. So, like, they were apparently very surprised at the power the Tau could bring to bear in long-ranged strikes in space.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, this is like just a small Xenos threat. We'll just kill everyone and drive them off. But
yeah. It's a cool picture too. So like Space Marine strike cruisers they have that like, think like a boat. It has like this huge metal prow on the front of it, like this huge heavily armored thing. So yeah, they just sent that in And
it punches, like, it has to survive all these like volleys of these powerful torpedoes that the Tau are shooting.
Yeah, so they make it in, and once it gets in, they realize too that Tau lack broadside firepower. So once it made it in, it was just easy for it to kind of take advantage of that.
The Tau are just too used to fighting at such a long distance and destroying everything before it even got close to them.
Yeah.
They're like, what's the point of making things with actual broadside power?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, where are we next? All right. The last main engagement before the Tau were pushed back beyond the Gulf was on the planet of Silkel, home to 7 million inhabitants. The planet was defended by an orbital station and the remnants of the fleet that had been previously encountered that they had beat back with that Space Marine strike cruiser.
Yeah.
Led by Iron Hands Captain Rumen, the Iron Hands found the firepower of the station thoroughly lacking and performed a boarding maneuver using Caestus assault rams. This station, after being purged by flame, would become the headquarters of the ground assault.
So is that station a Tau station, or was it a human station that the Tau had
I'm assuming it was
traded with and started to?
I'm assuming it would have been Tau, because otherwise, if it was human, they probably would have known of its capabilities, because they were surprised by the lack of firepower the station had.
Yeah,
but if it was an Imperium one, either one, either way,
doesn't matter. Space Iron Hands man came in and bent over.
You know all about that, right?
I do know about that.
Yeah. The interesting thing here was the Caestus assault rams. If you don't know what those are, they're there's literally insertion ships.
Yeah.
They're transport ships that have a massive melt-a-gun in the middle of it, and all they try and do is just ram into enemy ships. And right before their ship hits the enemies, that melt-a-gun goes off and just opens a hole in the enemy ship and just boards it.
Yeah,
and it just boards into the
plows
ship.
into the hole.
And then it opens its things and
typical
Space Marines.
That's actually really awesome.
Yeah,
it's sweet.
It's a pretty small ship too. It only holds 20, 25 Marines in it. But once the Marines get in, that ship's fucked.
Yeah.
There's not much that can be done.
Yeah. Space Marines fighting in close quarters.
Versus Tau.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Melee Tau.
Melee Tau.
It's a thing. Well, in this case, it wasn't, because the station was purged by flame, and then it was chosen as their headquarters for the ground assault of Silkel.
Yeah. With the space battle decided, the ground assault began. Led by the Scythes of the Emperor and supported by the 17th Brimlock Dragoons, a beachhead was formed, but the Tau response was swift and well-disciplined, using their mechanized infantry and supported by hammerheads. Many of the Brimlock Dragoons would have been lost were it not for the swift intervention of the 4th Stormtrooper Company, which are probably Tempestus Scions now.
Because back when this was written, they were called Stormtroopers, but now they're most likely meant Tempestus Scions.
Yeah, so they're
little IP.
No, just they changed what Stormtroopers were.
Yeah.
So Stormtroopers used to be this, their own force, right? And then they changed that to be Tempestus Scions are now their own force.
So yeah, really they more added Tempestus Scions because there's still Stormtroopers in armies. Cadian has a good example. They have their Cassicans. They're Cassican Stormtroopers. So those still exist. But now they've actually added Tempestus Scions, which are kind of super Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
But,
Gotcha.
So the Brimlock Dragoons would have been slain if not for this and the Scythes of the Emperor. But it's a cool picture. This is literally how I play my Tau army. Mechanized infantry supported by hammerheads. You just drive in fast and blow shit up and before anyone can even respond. But there's a couple cool battles between hammerheads and Layman Russes where they're oh, these are comparable battles. I always just picture that movie Fury of tank battles. And it's such a cool image, especially if you amp it up into 40K where it's
the hammerheads are flying.
Yeah, there's fucking flying tanks,
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah. As the fighting progressed and the ground was seized by the Crusade, the Tau evacuated the most important citizens and dismantled their tech so as to not allow the Imperium to have it. The Battle of Silkel was decided when the 9th Brimlock Fusiliers landed. Their firepower is overwhelming, and the Tau retreated completely.
Yeah. It's something to say for them that their firepower could overwhelm Tau.
Yeah, it just, if you have 1,000 million guys shooting.
Yeah, it really would tell me that there's a lot of people in this one regiment of the Fusiliers.
I don't think there's enough information on this regiment either to like say kind of what their tactic is, but it's also possible that they just had like a bunch of ordnance
just
weapons.
Heavy. Heavy.
But
it's possible.
Either way.
Yeah.
To outgun Tau, it's a lot.
Yeah. Before moving back across the Gulf, before moving across the Gulf, the Imperium purged their sectors of the Tau race entirely. So this Battle of Silkel, it was like the last military Tau on the Imperium side of the Gulf.
Yeah.
Like after this was gone, they just cleaned up at their leisure, right? It was really easy.
Yeah.
So one such planet that they purged was Vissel. It was a Tau colony planet made up entirely of fishing colonies.
Fishing fish?
I was just about to say.
Instead of doing battle, the Imperium simply melted the polar ice caps, drowning the entire population.
What a way to go.
Of 7 million Tau.
Was it all Tau there, or was that a...
As far as we could tell, like it was
cares?
all Tau.
Doesn't matter. If there were humans there, they deserve to die, obviously, anyway.
The only reason I thought it might specifically be Tau is because on the other planets of Garrison Kleist, when there were humans with Tau, they specifically rooted out the Tau and punished the humans.
Yeah.
Whereas on this one, they just straight up killed everyone. So it could have been humans and Tau.
Maybe there was one guy, like
it could have, yeah.
Jeff.
But yeah,
Fucking Jeff.
The crazy thing,
Okay, how did they do that, though?
they just shot shells and melted the ice
Oh, they
caps.
just, like, blasted it?
It's like a thermal missile,
Yeah. That planet's gone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's just an ocean planet now.
That's okay. You just need a boat.
The crazy thing
The
to
fish
me,
are all good. You can set up another Imperial fishing colony.
except all they're radiated now. You can't eat
You
them.
didn't say that they used nukes to do it.
I'm assuming like everything is nukes. At least.
Yeah, you assume bolters have nuke. You're a dumb
They
bitch.
are, yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, you
my
can build
God.
a nuke, so
Exactly. If I can do it, everyone in 40K can.
What do lasguns shoot, Eric?
Flashlights, just beams of light.
Oh, okay. I was hoping you'd say nukes. And
Nukes.
Really fucking
Small nukes.
small.
In the size of a
photon
little...
nukes. Yeah, photon-sized nukes.
The interesting thing that I pictured when I was reading this, though, was... like the Imperium doing this action is just like, oh, okay, like, yep, they're alien and we need to kill them. So what's the most effective way of doing that? Okay, just drown it, do that, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
Like it's just another Tuesday for them.
Yeah.
But when news of that, if that ever came back across the Tau, like to the Tau Empire, like that would be horrific, right?
Yeah.
Like the Tau might even think like, oh my god, like I can't believe they would use that as like a scare tactic, and the humans are like, nope. That's not the scariest thing we do, right? Like, that was just, it's like the level of ferocity between like the two of them. Like the humans are so much more willing to be ridiculous and crazy.
Well, the Tau just haven't gotten that far
Sounds
into
like
the galaxy
humans.
yet.
Right,
at this
but
point.
this is like their outlook is so bright and
They're
like, naive that like to me like this would be like ridiculous for them to find out.
What did they do?
Right. They just melted a planet and killed 7 million civilians?
Yeah.
Like that to me like it seemed like an interesting contrast like and like what's the PR on that? How do the Tau spin it? Like, oh man, this human race is really bad. Look at what they did. And the humans are like
Batman bad.
The humans are like another easy victory for humanity. You know, that's what's in their newsletter. Anyways.
So they purged what was left on the Imperium side of the Gulf, and then they finally crossed. So it took 5 full months for the Crusade to cross the Damocles Gulf, and they arrived in the Daleth system in the Kendril subsector. At this point, the Imperium fleet was overconfident and assumed that the Tau defenses to be similar to that which they already encountered.
Which was easy.
Easy, yeah. That space station, they took it.
Yeah.
They figured out the weakness of their ships.
Yeah.
But they were solely disabused? What is that word?
They were sorely disabused of this notion.
Oh, that's a weird way to use that word. With the destruction of fully 1/3 of their fleet. So they had unknowingly engaged a far more powerful Tau fleet, upgraded orbital defense stations, and the biggest threat of all, a Kroot war sphere.
So they it was like, I've made a terrible mistake.
Yeah. They seen a station, like, oh, we take one of those before,
Yeah.
but then they get close and it just opens up.
There's a good reason, though, as to why the Imperium lost so much. Because the fleet hadn't arrived as a single unit, so it was arriving piecemeal, so ship by ship by ship.
Yeah, and then they
were just blasted away as soon as they arrive, right?
Yeah. Or like the first couple ships are just like, well, let's take all the glory for
Sure,
ourselves.
yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So
And so they engage right away.
Yeah, and then the rest show up late, so they can't get defended, and
But it's because of that it wasn't until the Blade of Woe arrived that the Imperium could mount an offense.
What is the Blade of Woe?
So it's a Retribution class battleship.
I think it might sound familiar to you because in Skyrim, Oblivion, they have a Blade of Woe. If that's
Really?
if that's maybe what you're thinking.
Maybe.
The way you
Maybe
said it
it's-
seemed like it was like,
I've heard of this.
heard of this.
What is this Blade of Woe?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I think you use the Blade of Woe to kill people to join the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. No tie into 40K. To be
was like,
to be honest.
Is Bethesda paying you or something right now? It just seems so out of it. For
I know,
me.
just the
Yeah.
so he said recollect. He just
For sure. Clearly, that's what you were thinking of, Mark.
I just have my toes dipped into every little pool, you know.
Well, and sometimes Bethesda throws in like Easter eggs in their games.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I
there's
doubt
could be
40K.
I'm sure between a lot of fantasy
The Damocles
things,
Crusade was a big deal that they wanted to like sprinkle that in there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So the Blade of Woe, commanded by Admiral Jalak, this Retribution class battleship was able to outgun the War Sphere completely, assuring the Imperial of a bloody victory, losing 4 capital ships and 14 escorts.
And they came into the battle with 12.
So
capital
that they
ships,
lost so much
Yeah.
in that single battle. Just a grave miscalculation on their
Yeah.
part. Why don't you tell them about what a War Sphere is?
A Kroot War Sphere is just like a massive space station that can just fly around. Like it's huge.
Yeah.
Like it's like for people who know Imperial Fist, like the Phalanx. Like it's that scale. Like they're massive.
It's planet-sized.
I don't know about
Or it's
that
moon
big.
size.
It's
That's no moon.
That's
It's
no moon.
big.
Is it like
It's-
the orc moon thing?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
like that would be their
big.
comparable. Like
Okay.
sporks have.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sporks.
Orcs have space hulks.
Sports Center,
Yeah, yeah.
another little plug. How many people are funding you guys?
Not
Popeye's
enough.
chicken.
So yeah, like orcs have space hulks and Kroot have war spheres. That's like their comparable size.
they're
but the,
big.
But the Kroot war sphere is like slow but has devastating firepower.
Yeah. Because of this more powerful threat than previously thought, a portion of the command of the Crusade wished to call a stop and return to Imperial space and its relative safety. But in the end, greed won out and their sights were set on Dialith Prime, a major Tau world.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to put aside all your prejudices around that alien planet that did you so much harm. It's right there.
Yeah.
You're like, we can crush them. Come on.
Yeah.
Kill the Xenos.
They should have just melted the ice caps
They
again.
should have just melted the ice caps. It works so well on missile.
I think one thing people often like I know you're joking, but you can't just go exterminating every planet.
Yes, we can. We can do it.
I think one of the
we
major
have the technology.
I think one of the major reasons why they did like Vissel, is that what it's called? Was because like if you read like it's a Tau fishing world, like it's probably not useful outside of like the ocean. So if you just make bigger oceans, it's not a waste of the world. So but you can't just go up to like Dialith Prime, which has like forests on it and mountains and all these things. You can't just go blowing up planets willy-nilly and wasting all the resources, you know.
So you think if all the polar ice caps on Earth melted, our oceans are fine?
Yeah, they're just bigger oceans.
That's right.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you
Dodged
just
a bullet there, guys.
It's got bigger, a little colder oceans.
Climate change debunked. You heard it
No,
here
no,
first.
humans are fucked. But
No, even the oceans are screwed. It desalinates them and changes their temperature.
yeah, temperature change. I could see
That's
that.
a big,
but-
and the desalination is a big difference too.
Sure.
Because it's like 70% of all fresh water is in those ice caps, and when that goes into the ocean, it's a big deal.
But then
We just need to pour
lake
the
fish
salt
thrive.
in.
We just need to put more salt in.
Yeah, just dump
Yeah.
some salt in the ocean. You
Goddamn
got
dumb.
salt.
politicians,
I got
idiots.
tons of salt.
There's not enough salt in the world for that stuff.
No, you just can't go around blowing up every planet.
No, for
is what I'm
sure.
saying.
For sure.
Like,
especially one with 3 orbital defense.
Yeah,
you might
it's
not
well
be able to get
protected.
close to it.
At this point, had they destroyed the orbital defenses though?
No, so at this point
They just fought the fleet.
They all arrived on the other side of the Damocles Gulf. They lost a third of their thing, and now they're like, should we turn back? But they're like, no, let's set our sights for Daleth Prime. And let's
But they
go
killed
take
the
it.
giant crew thing.
Yes, that was what was the bad thing at the fleet, was the crew war sphere.
That was the bad thing.
It was a bad thing. And they killed the bad thing in the water. All right. Daleth Prime was orbited by 3 orbital defense stations, and so the fleet approached cautiously, just considering the last time, right? Because they
Yeah, they came into contact.
What am I trying to say?
I know what you're trying to say.
All right, thanks, baby girl.
We got it. Okay, next point.
Yeah. So they approached cautiously, only to find that the orbital stations were no match, and so easily destroyed. And due to the importance of the planet of Daleth, the Crusade expected a Tau reinforcement fleet at any second. Because of this, their planetary assault was started immediately, attempting to take the planet before any reinforcements could arrive. Mm-hmm. So they're super nervous. They're like, we've lost a lot.
Yeah.
We want to take this planet, and we're certain there's going to be they're going to jump out of whatever version of the warp travel that they have.
Yeah. Any second now.
Yeah, and then we're going to be screwed, so we better make this quick.
Yeah. A large Tau defense force met the Crusade on the ground, but was eventually overrun. The Crusade then brought everything they had to bear against the Tau planet of Daleth. The invading Imperial force was broken into 3 main spearheads. The first one was the Titans from Legio Thanataris. The next one was veteran light infantry of the Rakishan Rifles. And the final one was Space Marines consisting of Iron Hands, Ultramarines, and the Size of the Emperor.
Yes.
So they obviously won.
Yeah, so
They have all that AP.
yeah.
So
You get the hell out of here.
goddamn Iron Hands.
Hey, yeah, they ignored shit in the buildings, right? It's all good.
Each spearhead, though, was tactfully countered, and their progress halted.
Yeah.
There's expert Tau commanders we'll talk about later, but the Titans were met by Manta missile destroyers, which were the original same type of ship that were encountered with those long range missiles. They're spaceships that are able to then also fly.
Come into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were met like that. Then the Rakishan's rifles, they were infiltrating through the woods, and they're known for being a super stealthy and quiet regiment, but they're going through woods, so Tau used their Kroot allies to counter them that way. And then the Space Marines were met by Tau jump troop, the crisis battle suits,
Just
and stuff like
super
that.
mobility,
Yeah.
and they had the range on the Space
Amazing
Marines.
weapons on them.
Yeah.
So each spearhead was countered.
Yeah, very effectively.
Yeah.
This expert warfare by Commander Shadowsun and Commander Farsight forced the crusading army to dig in at the order of General Wendell Gage. At this point, seeing that he had been set a task that his resources couldn't handle, he presented his conclusions to the Crusade Command. That, we can't do this, we need to find another way than just 3 spearheading forces.
Yeah.
All, separate commands dealing with them.
Yeah.
Inquisitor Grand, who was assumedly on the Crusade Command, Inquisitor Grand, put forth that it was time to evacuate the planet and exterminatus the enemy completely.
Makes sense.
But too many of the command had gained a respect for the military capacity of the Xenos race.
It's
What?
a weird line.
Yeah.
So
What?
Wait, so they didn't exterminate us because of respect?
Yeah.
I don't like
We wrestled
that.
with this for
Crazy.
a bit. Because it doesn't seem to really fit with how the Imperium
Yeah.
as a whole acts.
As a whole, for sure.
Like on an individual
Sure,
level.
I'd believe it if it's this one guy's you know what, I wish we wouldn't exterminate us, but I feel like he wouldn't say that out loud because everyone around, are you a Xenos lover?
Yeah, there's an
Space him.
Inquisitor right
Yeah, there's an
next to you.
Inquisitor right there. And you want to leave them alive. So
Yeah.
in the same way that books don't represent the overall feeling of the chapter that the one Space Marine is from, in the same way that like these ideas of the Imperium don't represent every individual in the Imperium.
Yeah.
You can have many people in the Imperium appreciate Xenos and be able to have a respect. So, and
like
that's
I said,
the thing.
I believe it if it was like a group of them felt that way, but I
This
struggle
one is
to
a
see
little
them, like, say that
harder.
out loud.
Yeah, for sure. I came to the same thing. I was like, I'm not sure.
The reason is that the author wanted both sides to kind of win. Oh, the Imperium would have won. The Imperium would have won, but
That's
they
right.
didn't because they respected them. And the Tau would have won.
But for whatever reason, General Wendell Gage realized that they just couldn't do it this way. Everyone fighting under their own authority and commands. And he's like, what's the point of having these things if you won't work together and you won't fill in the gaps of each other's weaknesses?
Yeah.
And so now the Crusade command is at this stalemate because they're trying to determine, okay, like, do we push forward and just keep digging in and waiting for those Tau reinforcements to inevitably arrive?
Yeah.
Or do we pull back and exterminatus everyone? And so they were in this stalemate, and no one could make a decision. So, except for one man, one hero,
Jeff.
No, Jeff was exterminated.
Jeff's gone.
Oh.
He was on the Tau fishing world.
Oh yeah, sorry.
He's very dead. He's
No,
very dead.
no. The salt, fresh water killed him.
That's
No,
right.
it was too fresh. Not enough salt. He would have been
Desalinated.
buoyant. He would have been buoyant if there was enough salt in there.
Instead, he drowned. So during the siege and the stalemate, in which the Crusade was steadily losing numbers, thanks to the overwhelming range and tactics of the Tau, General Gage secretly began his own assault. So taking ground inch by inch and with many bodies, he slowly gained ground until he had forced the Tau to flee the city of Gelbrin, leaving their Kroot allies behind. And the way he did this was by utilizing all three different spearheads and combining them to overcome the weaknesses of each other.
Yeah.
And that was the main problem, it seemed, with the Crusade, is that each was trying to achieve the same goal separately.
Yeah.
But now, as everyone's stronger when they come together.
Diversities are
together. Diversities are strength and all that stuff. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Did we just become family friendly again?
No. We'll never be family friendly.
I think we just did. I don't know. That felt very family friendly, that spiel you just gave us.
That was just
share with your kids.
That was just people doing people things, Mark. So this ended the siege that everyone was subject to, and the Crusade then gained a starport on the outskirts of the city. And they're like, General Gage at the very least is like, let's leave this planet. We already don't have the resources. It's a miracle we took this city and this starport. Let's just get the heck out of here.
Yeah. While the Space Marine chapters and the Inquisition disagreed strongly with this sentiment of retreat, a call from the Inquisitor Cryptman swiftly ended the debate. It seems that another threat was looming on the horizon back in Imperium-controlled star space.
Ooh, and if anyone knows who Cryptman is and what he's famous
Let's see
for...
around the table. Do you know?
Do you have a guess, James, of what this threat was that Inquisitor Cryptman was dealing with?
I'm guessing that it was... there was a planet that was collapsing in on itself, and the local population, Kryptonians,
right? Keep going. You're on a hot streak right now.
They were sending their prince to Terra, where he would become a lot more strong, and they were worried about that Xenos.
Yeah,
coming to Earth and
interesting.
Destroying things. That's
Rio,
my guess.
Do you have a better guess than the plot, the shittily renditioned plot of Superman?
Is that what that was? I didn't even pick up on that.
My only guess would be Tyranids.
Oh, damn!
Rio.
It's Tyranids.
Oh, yeah.
It's always Tyranids.
It's always Tyranids.
No, it's not. It could have been a Tomb World. It could have been
it's never a Tomb World.
They're all Tomb Worlds. But yeah, Cryptman is famous for battling Tyranids literally across the galaxy. So
1,000 years.
Yeah, it's
not
wild.
quite, but long time.
For a long time. Longer than any human has any right to be alive.
He just keeps getting injections of young people's blood.
It's just stem cell research.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
He can afford it, and so he just stays young for a long time.
But yeah, they were at this debate. Do we leave? Do we stay? And Cryptman's like, get the heck back here, because there's some goddamn Tyran
What's
bugs.
with this This voice.
You get the hell out of here. No,
this is like a recent thing that you picked up this episode.
Yeah. It's that South Park episode where he's like, we don't take kindly to your folks here. You get the heck out of here. Now Skeeter, he ain't doing no trouble.
Now Skeeter.
Yeah. So seeing the haste at which the Imperium was leaving the planet of Dalith Prime, the Tau decided not to aggressively pursue them. And instead, through parlays, truces were formed to allow the crusade to leave safely.
Really makes you think, like,
interesting.
Remember all those humans that they just killed a couple months ago for making, trades and alliances with the Tau? Really makes you think, like, they feel guilty about that. Now all of a sudden,
no, it's not their fault. It was Cryptman. Cryptman forced them to leave.
Yes.
They're like, you son of bitch aliens, we're coming back here. You don't go anywhere. We're coming back.
No, they were heretics. They took pleasure in hanging out with Xenos.
No
I took no pleasure in leaving this planet.
That's right.
I wanted to kill them.
Only regret.
I am sad that there is not more killing going on right here. That is why I'm not a heretic.
Space Marine want more Xenos to kill. That's how they talk.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it.
The
You heard
Iron
it here
Hands
first. That's
do
Iron
that.
Hands.
But with more like ones and zeros inserted in there.
So 1101100110011.
Sad. The Damocles Crusade was ended. Her fleets recalled.
Sad.
What a crusade. What a glorious crusade.
Yeah.
Typical Imperium. It wasn't that great.
The 3 years of the crusade educated the Tau to the miserable and depressive institution that was the Imperium.
Yeah.
This is their first taste of what it actually means to meet the Imperium.
Yeah.
And not just a couple of her fringe worlds.
Yeah. So this is one thing like Tau often get criticized for, is like they don't fit the setting. They're not grim dark enough. But to me, like, I always look at it this way, like the Tau are these peaceful is a good word, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Peace-loving, optimists. They want the good for everyone. And then they run into the Imperium, and there's just no dealing with them. There's no dealing with orcs. They're realizing the galaxy is just a fucked up place. Yet they're that one friend that you have who's a super optimistic person, but he's naive and he doesn't know any better, that he's just an idiot. But the Tau at this point have realized, like, oh fuck, the world's awful, but they're still trying to be a good guy, even though they know, like, it's not gonna work.
So that fits the setting.
Because that's the grim darkness of the Tau.
Yeah, is that they're
outlook.
inevitably doomed to failure.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way they can take the whole galaxy.
There's no way.
There's no way
all.
that what they believe in so strongly, they're fighting for something that has no achievable victory.
So
and it's not sad
is it
for
grim
them.
dark as long as they stay small? But if they ever got big,
No, even if they get big,
they can never take
like,
the whole galaxy.
how do you convince the
You can
Tyranids
never
to
take
join the greater
Tyranids.
good?
You can never
How
take
do you
deal
convince the
with the orcs?
Necron?
Yeah.
The orc, yeah.
Exactly.
You just
humanity.
The
like,
Eldar are even too proud.
Yeah,
probably.
exactly.
Yeah, like sure they have a bunch of
That's-
client races, but ultimately, like everyone important, they're never going to be able to convince, no matter how hard and how long they try. But they're going to keep trying, and they're going to keep getting kicked.
It also could be a race in its infancy, right? It's not terrible to believe that humanity, even at the early stages of spacefaring, was like, oh my
I don't
gosh,
know, we're monsters,
we're so excited to see other people and make contact with other aliens. And then the first time they're like, oh my God, like, did you see what they did to Ray? They disintegrated him molecule by molecule. And then they're like, well, shit, our turn, bitches, right? Like, that could be what it's like. But instead of Tau losing that infancy, they've kept it. So the question is, like, what does it take to make them into just as terrible a race as everyone else? Will it ever come to that point? Are they going to keep this?
What horrible atrocities are going to be committed on them before?
Right, before they break completely. And since the Death Guard are on their way through the Startide Nexus, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
So they're screwed.
yeah, that good old chaos. You can't treat with chaos.
No, see, and
But they're going to try, though.
Yeah.
And they know
Once.
they're going to try. They know
once.
they're going to fail, but they're going to try. And then they're going to try again. It's sad.
Sad.
It's very sad.
Sad.
So that was the Damocles Crusade. It only lasted 3 years.
But it was
pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
pretty cool battle, pretty cool ramifications.
Yeah.
Yeah, for what it mean, like what did it mean for the humanity to meet this menace, and what did it mean for the Tau to understand like the scale that humanity operates on, and the differences between like a human versus the actual Imperium, right?
Yeah.
This was before they developed the Riptide, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like
No wonder they didn't have triptides.
Not enough shield drones. God damn it.
If they were just running triptides or shield
Had
drones.
30 shield drones, it would have been fine.
Duh.
Need more marker lights. God damn. Why didn't they just use that stratagem for D3 marker
because
lights?
this was 3rd edition. There was no stratagems.
That's why.
Son of a bitch.
Idiots. They're so bad at this game.
Yeah. Duh.
So after that, couple hundred. Nope. How many? 20 years?
5
years. 5 years. It says in the notes.
Couple hundred.
Couple
120.
5 doesn't really matter. Numbers are all just made up.
That's right. Yep.
So 5 years later, the Farsight expedition happened. In 750 M41, Commander Farsight attempts to cross the Damocles Gulf and reclaim the world's lost during the Damocles Crusade.
Even the fish one?
Especially
Even the
fish
oh.
one.
All their bodies, he's going to try and get back.
Yeah. It meets a strange fate, though, however, this whole expedition. And we're not going to dive into Farsight right now. That deserves its own episode. So we're going to,
Hashtag soon.
TM. And yeah, but that happens.
All right, thanks for listening.
There was eventually a crusade, or not a crusade, an expedition to go retake those planets.
Yeah. It's kind of like how dare they, and let's take back what is ours.
Yeah.
But something happens and stops them.
One thing to note too that they do this a couple times to go back across the Gulf, and they are able to convince more Imperial planets to join them. And there's always like this constant struggle between like the Imperium and Tau.
Tau can't get a strong foothold on the other side, and the Imperium can't seem to get a strong foothold on the Tau side. So it constantly just slips from one power to the other. And you got these like
worlds that are in there where it's like, oh man, let's just join the Tau Empire. And then, like, his friend's like, but when the Imperium comes, and they will come, we will be fucked.
We'll be publicly punished in front of an entire crusade.
That's going to happen anyways, though. Let's just join the Tau Empire. Like, it's this cool kind of dynamic of, like, just being that human, you'd feel so trapped. Like, you're fucked.
No matter what, you lose.
Yeah.
Welcome to everyday life in 40K.
Yeah, the Imperium's not going to defend you to keep you safe from the Tau. And then they're going to come kill you if you join the Tau. So it's like, fuck.
No winning.
I'd like to hear a story from like the perspective of a human who has the Tau coming onto their world and meets them for the first time, and it's like, oh,
in like a peaceful,
and then like they're also struggling with like the thought of the Imperium. Back.
So it's like them struggling with the greater good and being like, it's so good, but oh my god, I'm so scared. I'm so scared.
Yeah,
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, for sure would be.
Wouldn't be bad at all.
So then, 2 years, 150, 54, who knows how long.
Well, it says after almost 150 years.
Yes. Of relative peace, the next major conflict to enter Tau space was High Fleet Gorgon.
Yes.
And this arrives 889 M41.
So 150 years is a decent amount of time for Tau.
What were they doing in that time?
Yeah.
This is the whole, like, they get one little foothold on one side of the Damocles Gulf, they lose it, they make little pushes, but neither side, like, really, there's no major battles that we saw, there's no big losses or anything, there's no sphere of expansion called in this time. They're also dealing with the after effect of the Farsight expedition.
Exactly, that's a whole big thing.
Which had very far-reaching
outreaching.
Oh my god! I can't word today. Apparently,
it's fine. Gotcha. Now you know what it's like to be me.
Don't look at me like that with pity.
Word hard.
Space Marine sad.
So High Fleet Gorgon, it's known for exhibiting exceptionally fast adaptation abilities and was known to grow perfect tactical counters to whatever it was facing.
Hold on. Are we saying that the Hive Fleet knew the perfect time to strike?
No. The perfect way.
No.
Strike.
It adapted to the perfect time to strike. Yes.
Oh my god! It had the perfect way to adapt
to
get
strike.
the perfect way to strike.
Oh my god. There's almost a theme.
That whatever army you are is the best.
Sounds like it.
Some are better than others, Iron Hands, and
Yeah.
some
And
are
then
worse than
there's-
others, Necron.
That's right. Yeah.
No.
But you know what?
But they're all the best.
We're all just sleeping. So this ability to grow and adapt mirrored the Tau's ability to advance technologically. And an arms war began. The Tyranids playing a flesh arms war and the Tau playing a technological one, which is really cool to think about.
Yeah. So when High Fleet Gorgon first made it into the system, several Tau trading partners were consumed first, before anything realized. But the first engagement against the Tau Empire was on an orbital perimeter outpost of the world Shadrag.
Yes, and swarms of Tyranid gargoyles assaulted the shipyards only to be gunned down by Tau weapon platforms. And then the next wave of gargoyles were coated in a mucus to lessen the damage of Tau fire. And then the Tau defenders were overrun because apparently this mucus, it like almost completely like negated any effect of
Crazy.
this fire.
Yeah.
Like it was the perfect adaptation.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. But it was also quick.
Yeah.
Like that's only one wave of gargoyles
Yeah.
to learn, like figure out a counter and then grow it and send those gargoyles
Yeah,
out.
that's
Like
insane.
the gargoyles were probably already made. They just all the Norn Queen did was just birthed these little organisms that just attached themselves to
Oh,
these
they're
gargoyles.
just like hucking loogies on Gorgon.
Yeah. That's kind of how I see it. Like, because every biomorph
Slugs just climbing over.
every
them, yeah.
biomorph is its own creature,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they
Yeah.
just created another creature that coated this creature in its like slime or
That's
whatever.
disgusting.
So
Yeah.
it just the Tyranid is just it's efficiency. It's perfect efficiency, right? It's so cool.
So the Tau eventually heard and about what's happening. They heard about their client races kind of getting overrun. Shagdrag's outpost. They stopped hearing from them. There's silence at the outpost. So they sent a fleet to go investigate. And this was led by Kor-O Valroth, which is like an aircast admiral, essentially.
Yeah. Like a commander.
Yeah, like an admiral. Commander is like a fire warrior
Yes,
term.
but it's on the same level.
Yes. They found the outpost was raised and set a course for Shagdrag itself.
No, my God, what did this?
Yeah, just imagine that too. Like, just like I think the outpost was just it was a space station, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It was
It'd
an
be-
orbital perimeter.
It'd be
outpost.
weird because like you would see the conflict, like you'd see acid marks on the wall and stuff, but there'd be no biomass in that whole thing.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Like
All the Tau bodies would also like have
they're gone.
disappeared.
Yeah, everything's gone except
Anything
for,
that
like-
was edible or compostable is like been taken by the
But you
Tyranids.
show up and like clearly something happened. Like
Yeah.
there's signs of it everywhere.
There's claw
but-
marks everywhere and bite marks in this metal.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be a weird thing to see. Like,
Terrifying.
Terrifying.
Yeah, for sure.
Tau fleets look like very interesting ships. Like the ships are very strange looking to
Yeah.
me. Like they don't seem like, personal opinion, they don't seem to, they look very different like than their suits or their like devilfish or
well,
something.
there's a lot of curves in like their ships, and then you look at like crisis suits, and it's very angular.
Yeah.
Like the heads are very
Yeah.
angular, and they have lots of sharp lines and corners. And then you look at like the devilfish,
Yeah.
and even the ghost keel is pretty rounded in terms of like its armor and stuff. So the Tau do have like the two aesthetics. They
Yeah.
have a very curvy one, and they also have a very angular one.
Yeah.
They also have the new, like they have a new one, which is the thick aesthetic. That's new though.
You take your dinghy, get the hell out.
So the High Fleet Gorgon had already reached Shadrag, but the Tau fleet broke through the Tyranid blockade and was able to land reinforcements on the planet.
It's a pretty big deal to break a Tyranid blockade.
Yeah. And so the back and forth of flesh adaptation and technological advancement took place, but the Tau once again were overrun and forced to withdraw from the
It
planet.
just seemed that the Tyranid ability to grow and
Yeah.
adapt outran the Tau's ability to advance technologically.
Yeah. Do you remember any of those like
One,
examples?
I don't remember any specific ones.
There was
but-
like 3 or 4.
yeah, but my favorite one
Yeah.
is that the Tau would constantly like change the ammo that they're using.
Yeah.
So they would upgrade. Like the Tyranids would harden their chitin on like their carapace.
Yeah.
So the Tau created like better rounds that like specifically ate flesh, and the Tau or the Tyranids like grew to change so their flesh wasn't as susceptible to those rounds.
Yeah.
But then it also said that the Tau, in their cleverness, actually like regressed their technology on purpose and like went back to rounds that the Tyranids now were no longer adapted for.
Yeah.
And so it forced the Tyranids to change their adaptation and go all the way back. So it was really cool that
Yeah.
the Tau weren't just going forward, they were trying to be clever as well. And the Tyranid is purely reactionary.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they can't adapt
They're not
to something
they're not, unless
not
they
thinking.
haven't seen it yet. So how could they possibly imagine a way to overcome something like that?
Interesting.
However, though, the planet was consumed.
As is all things that the Tyranids set their eyes on.
Except for Ball.
and McCraig. And any other major...
Wait a minute. Any Space Marine planet?
The image I always get, because I read The Devastation of Ball, and the image I get when it's like a Space Marine fleet or a Tau fleet flying through Tyranids is I just like picture just thick, the completeness of space is just covered in things, and you're just flying through it, guns shooting a hole in that mass of just biomass. So you're just going through, blowing holes through it, and it's all around
You're creating like a tunnel.
Yeah, and it fills in behind you, and you're just blowing up bodies everywhere. And it's just such, I don't know, I just love that image. It just
That is pretty cool.
just boring a
Crazy.
hole with guns.
The Ethereal Council of Kelshan.
Just zero segue.
That's my favorite part of this podcast.
Back
is
on
the
track, you
segues.
losers.
What do you want from me?
The
I'm only
transition.
human.
What I would have said was, and yet it didn't work like that for these guys, unfortunately. The planet was
transitions are the
eaten.
best parts.
Yeah.
That's what you do so great.
We need that Star
Lean
Wars
into it.
transition where it just like sweeps across the screen. Anyways, Mark is right. The planet is consumed.
The Ethereal Council of Kelshan ordered the withdrawal of the Tau colony worlds between KMAS,
I would Kamai. Is
Sure.
how I would say it.
Kamai, no S,
Yeah.
sure, and Kelshan, and many planets were lost. So they
Yeah.
basically ordered a withdrawal. They seen what the Tyranids were capable of, and just were like,
Well, yeah, they're like, we lost like the race, like whatever they have, like we
Yeah.
have nothing else
we
to
have
throw
set,
at them.
Yeah, we have to set up one big planet and hold them like that.
Yeah, we have to fire break it, kind of.
Yeah. The Tyranid warriors fought in M41 902.
So there's only 3 years after the fleet has arrived.
Yeah. The High Fleet Gorgon eventually reached Kelshan, and the invasion of the planet began.
Yeah.
The Tau Fire Warriors fought valiantly to defend their world both in space and on Kelshan herself. It was only until the arrival of a lost fleet that the battle was swayed in the favor of the Tau.
Yeah, this is where that fleet that we talked about way back in the Damocles Crusade. So 150 years after the Damocles Crusade, the Cadia 18th Regiment finally arrived in Tau space, ready to fight the Tau for the glory of the Emperor, only to find a bigger threat. And we took this quote out of the 3rd edition. Was this out of the... No, this is the Tyranid Codex. I think it was 5th edition at this point we were looking at. Anyways, it's the kind of the commander of the Cadia 18th, and he says, "Aliens they may be, but I'd rather take my chances with the alien I know. Just make sure they stay between us and those things." So Castellan Krask, who came here ready to do battle against the Tau for the Damocles Crusade, is like, well, shit, guess they're my buddies now.
Yeah.
But it's because, like, he's like, at least I've heard about the Tau.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard about how I was supposed to kill them, but...
That's the timelines for 40K are so, there's so many things happening that it's hard to keep track of. Like,
it's nonsense.
So like, is this before he would not have known about Tyranids?
He's
at
been
this
in the
point?
warp for 150
yeah,
years.
so he
So
wouldn't know
when
about Tyranids.
Crazy.
Okay, that was before the
And
first ones came out.
He would have had to made it to the campaign, to the started crusade, purge the Imperial side of Tau space, and then he got lost going through the Damocles Gulf because he said, "I'd rather fight the aliens I know," which implies that he has met Tau. He's fought them. Because if he just came all the way from Cadia, he wouldn't know the Tau.
I don't know about that for sure because
I don't know either.
There could have been a packet sent out, right? Like, hey,
sure.
There's nothing saying he was at Cadia when the call came. So it could have been like, hey, like here's the mission.
Yeah.
Like read up on this information packet that we have on these aliens.
I guess.
On your way.
I guess.
But it also could have been that he was lost in the Damocles Gulf. I'm not saying one way or the other.
Sure. Well, and also one of them is a lot scarier looking.
Yeah,
than the
I was
other,
going to
so-
say, you only need to take a look at them.
Yeah. Yeah, one of them, the Tau's like, "Hey, you want to help?"
And then Tyrannid's like,
yeah.
Easy choice.
So with the arrival of them, High Fleet Gorgon is cleansed from Kelshan.
Gorgon.
Kelshan.
He just speaks with a Tau
get me
accent.
Armani on the phone, Gorgon.
Oh, jeez. It would have been a crushing victory in space if not for 3 hive ships that managed to escape. They would be hunted down for many years by the Tau, but they were never destroyed.
Yeah, so Val Roth, he has almost viewed, because he was the one who was commanding all the Tau in this thing.
Yeah.
He's that Koro that we
Yeah.
met earlier. He made the deal with Krask, he helped defend Kelshan. But he almost sees this entire thing as a failure on his part because he's unable to destroy those 3 Tyrannid ships.
Yeah.
So is this Tau over 150 years old?
No.
No.
He
Did I
just-
miss that?
Yeah.
No, he was there just for this High Fleet Gorgon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But because at the end of this whole High Fleet Gorgon, which only lasted 3 years,
Sure.
those 3 ships escaped, and so now he views everything as a failure because he couldn't completely annihilate
Yeah.
High
fair
Fleet
enough.
Gorgon.
And then it talks too about like how somehow they were worried that those ships would make it back to the rest of the hive fleets and bring back the knowledge that they gained and integrate it into the other hive fleets. So yeah. Another
Sorry, they do that a lot with Tyranids, it seems like. Tyranids just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They hit really hard for a while, and then they get broken. Because you can't have the Tyranids win.
You
in a
can't
story,
have
I
them
guess.
actually continue their role, or
Yeah.
else
They have
everything,
to, yeah.
everything
It's
yeah.
over. So
It's-
Tyranids are always that. They seem to have the same plot in every story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They come in, wreck a couple worlds, then get obliterated.
couple worlds you've never heard about.
Yeah, and never, like, they didn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
and then they go break some mining planets or something, and then
A bunch
they
of
get
orbital
broken.
stations.
Yeah. And then they get broken on a planet that actually matters. And then, they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're
take that,
pretty
Tyranids.
one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Take that, Tyranid players. Your
Don't
army
get-
sucks.
We're going to get so many messages now.
Oh, it's fine. All the Tyranid players already
Hey,
hate me.
I don't want you to make another apology video.
Yeah, we don't
We don't need that on
another
our
one.
heads.
Yeah.
We don't.
It's too much stress last time. The fires we had to put out, James.
I'm surprised you invited me back.
There was one funny line too from Krask, Castellian Krask, where he shows up and he's basically like, "Oh, these Tau kind of suck. Like we showed up. These Tyranids weren't that hard to kill.
Yeah.
But like literally, the Tau had been like fighting them for like 3 years, doing the heavy lifting, and they show up on the final hour to like swing the battle." It's like,
Yeah, and it's like said that he fights like a tiny splinter of the main power of the fleet,
Yeah.
and he's like, they're not hard to beat, these dumb Tau. And
just
so
like-
there's like a lot of Imperial records that state they're like an easy enemy based on his terrible advice.
I like this guy though. He's
Krask, yeah.
Yeah. So the Imperial forces were where are we? So many planets were consumed by Gorgon. That the Tau call this area of space the zone of silence. There's just a bunch of dead worlds now.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah. And the Imperial forces were too depleted to continue their mission against the Tau, and they were allowed to withdraw from Tau space and were given honors for their assistance.
They should just, like, whenever like a Tyranid high fleet attacks, they should just use that biomass to terraform. Like, just you have literally all the biomass that was taken from that planet. You just huck it back on that other dead world and then terraform it. Got all the biomass still.
The last thing they want is, after a couple 100 million years, for Tyranids to re-evolve.
Yeah, you grind it up first and
Piss
It's
on
all
it.
Tyranid DNA. What's the most likely thing it grows?
it's fine. Look, no one's done it before. We do an experiment on some planet, see how it works. If it goes horribly, just keep it away from Terra.
You sound like a Magos biologist.
Maybe I am.
Oh my God, you starting an AdMech army that I don't know about?
No, I don't touch in such things. I've had too many bad experiences.
So, the last thing we're talking about today between the two spheres is the Great War of Confederation.
Mm-hmm.
So, the High Fleet Gorgon ended in, 903 M41?
Sure.
Yeah. And then the Great War of Confederation is in 975 M41. So this is 72 years after this tyrannid.
So they had relative peace again. I'm sure there's small engagements everywhere. They're still doing their thing across the Damocles Gulf.
But not expanding.
Not really expanding, yeah.
And no defending yourself for like the survival of humanity.
Yeah.
That's the big thing about the things that all of these attacks that we've talked about, that's what they all have in common.
Yeah, it's like...
It's a real threat to the Tau race. Okay, so in 975 M41, an orc armada threatened the very heart of the Tau Empire. Viola, Sacia, and Tauan, which are three main planets of the Tau.
First step, or first.
And Tauan is literally their home planet.
No.
Tau?
Tau is the whole planet. Tauan is the second planet they call, or the first planet they colonized, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Never
Tauan,
mind then.
Yeah.
But that means like right there. Right next to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like right in the heart of their empire.
The orc fleet was so large that the Tau believed their sensors were malfunctioning when they first were getting readings of how big it was.
Yeah.
Hot diggity.
Hot diggity.
Does it say where it came from?
The orc fleet?
Yeah.
The warp? Anywhere?
They do give a name here, actually. But it's one of those random names where it's like...
It's a throwaway.
Comes from somewhere.
Yeah, it has no actual thing. But yeah, it talks too about how it's like a bunch of war bosses that get together, and at the beginning they're fighting for like control of this fleet or whatever. But it's pretty cool. But the Tau nonetheless doubt they could stand before a massive threat. How's that segue?
It's good. I
Perfect.
liked it. You're getting better.
Getting better. Until ethereal supreme Unva gathered the leaders of every step and rallied them to the common cause, survival.
The first battles of the war took place as the Tau fleet launched hit-and-run attacks to stem the greenskin tide and lure their ships within range of powerful orbital defense stations. But eventually, orcs managed to board the stations, and months of close-range engagements took place.
The threat was...
Sad.
No. The threat was deemed so great that after 6 years of hard fighting, they decided to awaken Commander Shadow Sun from cryosleep.
Yeah, and I think the last time we had seen Shadow Sun was the Damocles Crusade.
Yeah.
So she's been asleep for...
Basically 250 years.
150 years.
150? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because the Damocles didn't happen right away.
And then 70 years later... No, 220 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 220 years she was asleep for.
Yeah. So a while.
Sad.
And did they put her in cryosleep again? Because she's alive again.
Yeah, after this.
Thick as ever.
So obviously, she survives this.
Spoiler alert.
So with Shadow Sun at the head of the Tau, the Orc Armada was able to be dealt with within 6 years. So after the massacre of orcs at the Kresh expansions, the greenskin hold in the region was broken.
The Tau Empire was safe, and one of their greatest commanders had been awoken, that the Tau decided to launch a new sphere of expansion, the third sphere of expansion.
J.K. James, she was not put to sleep. She launched the third sphere. So they're like, she's awake. We just won like a crushing victory over these orcs.
The people are feeling like pretty like,
yeah,
oh yeah,
pretty good about this.
Yeah.
Like, let's go expand.
Yeah.
And then we have the third sphere.
Yeah. So yeah, we just covered 250 years of Tau history. There's a couple cool battles in there. If you want to learn more about them, there's a couple cool details that I'm sure you can always glean somewhere.
Yeah.
I think there's even 2 books written on the Damocles Crusade.
Star of Damocles, I
and like
think.
Savage Scars, I think, was maybe another one.
Ooh, that sounds familiar. I'm pulling it up right now. Star of Damocles and Savage Scars.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 novels that are written in this.
Yeah, so if the Damocles Crusade appeals to you, go check out those.
Yeah, learn a little bit more.
Yeah.
About General Wendell Gage and him standing up to Inquisitor Grand.
Sure. We don't know if that's in the book.
Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't read it. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
There's too many books for you to read everything.
Oh, it's crazy, man. It's always so funny when we get like emails where it's like, you guys missed this. It's like, oh man, like there's so much 40K. We can't get it all.
I'm not paid enough to know everything.
Yeah, we're not paid at all.
Oh shit. Not yet.
Yeah. But subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a couple of kind of funny things. I think on the last Tau episode, we did a rant on like Tau age and how like Shadow Sun keeps fucking popping up. And just doing this, we kept on running into that same issue where it's like
we were trying to calculate like how many years has she actually been alive and active.
And we got her up to like a bare minimum of like 40 years of age at the start of the third sphere of expansion, which is pretty old for a Tau. Like it's just like
the main thing is you should learn just from our episodes is we just don't like what they did with this aspect of the Tau.
Yeah, when they start bringing numbers in and start trying to cross over characters and stuff, it's a little fucking weird.
Either really, really flesh out your idea to where it like 100% makes sense, or leave it all a mystery.
Yeah. Don't give hard dates.
Yeah. Like we start putting like 2 and 2 together, and we're like, wait a second, that actually makes 4, not 30 million pi. Right? Because what they say just doesn't make sense. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, they should just do like that. What's that neurogram?
The pure tide engram.
Yeah, they should just do that where they can just transfer consciousness.
Yeah, and it's not literally Shadow Sun coming out of cryo
Yeah,
sleep.
they just stick a little chip in.
Because like literally like so.
All right, we are getting into this apparently.
How long of a timestamp are we at right now?
80 minutes.
Okay, we got a couple minutes then. It's quick.
4 hours later.
So to become a commander, you have to have 20 years of combat experience, because every 4 years you're allowed to take the trial of fire to progress a rank, and there's 5 ranks. So right there, she's 20 years old,
starting at combat.
So second she's born,
right? Yeah.
There's 20 years automatically. So they probably start fighting around 15. I'd say I don't think they.
It could be earlier. The Tau have like a faster life than us.
So let's say 10.
Let's say 10. So now she's up to 30 years old, and then we have she fought a couple years or so
6 years minimum.
So when she was in the Damocles Crusade, she was already an O, which is the highest rank.
Yeah.
And then she fought there for a couple years.
She had already studied under Pure Tide.
Yeah.
Which, how long does it take to learn like everything that Commander Pure Tide has to teach?
Yeah.
You're not doing it in 1 year.
Yeah. So then you toss on a couple more, let's say another couple of years, 5. Let's be
sure.
You can learn everything there is to know about warfare in 5 years.
Yeah. Right. So then she fights in the Damocles Crusade. Then she goes to sleep. And then she fights another 6 years. Mm-hmm. In the Great War of Confederation.
And then I think
and then she launches the goddamn third
and I think there's a couple years too, not a lot, like 1 or 2 between the third, like between the
Great War.
The Great War and when it actually officially launches.
Yeah.
So it's just like
and we're in the 5th sphere now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so people keep emailing like, oh well, they just put her to sleep. It's like no, they
even with sleep, the amount of years she's been alive mean there's something else keeping her alive, or Games Workshop.
I don't want to say. I would never accuse Games Workshop of
never.
saying, dude, never.
Please listen, Games Workshop. I love you. It's Mark.
Send free stuff.
He makes me say these things. Yeah, next time I want my psychic awakening before everyone else. I was like looking at pictures of like people, and they're like, oh, like I got the new like Ritual of the Damned book.
Yeah.
And here I am waiting like a chump for mine on pre-order. God damn. Goddamn.
You're just a pleb still.
Yeah.
Got to bump those numbers up.
Those are rookie numbers.
That's right. Once you get your numbers up, then you get the GW love.
Yeah, that's right. Anyways.
So the final thing we're going to talk about, and I just think this is kind of funny for Tau, is they're always called like fish people and stuff. Like even we're making fish jokes about them. But it's funny because the way this comes about is like, it's like Imperial slandering them, thinking they're fish people.
It's propaganda.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Like, Tau, their homeworld, is like this desert planet. quite the
It's
opposite
not
of
just that. It's pretty different. It has mountain ranges. It
yeah,
has
yeah,
grasslands.
But it is primarily like kind of arid.
But it's not like Tatooine.
desert.
Don't think
No,
like Tatooine.
no.
Think more like Earth, but
Like
with a lot
Mongolia.
more deserts than what we know
Yeah.
than what we have. Like what?
Mongolia,
Yeah,
kind of like steppe.
plains, steppes. Yeah, exactly. They have fucking hooves, so
Yeah.
that's another thing.
Yeah.
So they're kind of closer to like cows. Really,
They're like
maybe.
centaurs, satyrs.
Satyrs. But so the other thing is like
Well, they're definitely not fish. That's what we're
They
trying to get
got
at.
gills
Yeah.
on the top of their forehead, so maybe they do. What do they do with those?
I
okay?
don't know. I'm not a Tao fish expert.
it's
Mark?
for sex.
Is that
I
canon?
know. I've done it.
You're what the Imperium's worried about, Mark.
I'm creating weird fish towel.
Burn it. Burn it.
No, and the other funny thing is too, like then people are always like, oh well, they name all their stuff Manta missile destroyer.
Oh, yeah.
Devilfish. Like
Yeah.
they name it after.
Oh,
all
why
these,
would they name it a hammerhead?
after all these Earth creatures
Yeah.
that like Tau have no reference
Yeah,
for?
yeah, yeah.
It's
A
literally
Tao has never seen a manta in its life.
exactly. It's literally the Imperium calling Tau fish people.
Yes. Like the Imperium saw the manta and they're
Yeah.
like, "Hey, that's the same shape as like the manta ray. So like, let's call it manta."
Yeah, so it's just
Like that's
they're not
understand
fish
that,
people.
Yes, humans are calling them all this stuff.
Yeah, so if you call Tau fish people, you're just as ignorant as the Imperium. That's what
That's
I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah.
Ignorant and bigoted.
You xeno
Racist.
scum.
Yeah.
So there's my final.
And we don't
rant.
want to be any of those things.
So that's the episode. We did it, boys. Another one for the books.
Yeah, we got time.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's just something that has bugged me in like the past like 2 days. Okay.
Okay.
You know, like you even shared an image, Shadow Sun, and like what you shared in like the Discord was
Yeah.
like her outline in the suit and like how ridiculous it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So on our Instagram, we have like some people that really wanted to like be a part of this, like they've made posts for us.
Yeah.
Right, and so one of our guys, Zrin, he really loves Necron, so he's been making our Necron posts. So he posts this one Necron post.
Oh God.
Yeah, you know exactly
I know
where
where
I'm
this is going
going
now.
Okay, so he posts Sun
Holy
Bakir,
fuck.
who is a pharaoh of the Maynarch dynasty, but it's a woman.
Plot twist.
It's a female Necron. And literally, like, you look on our Instagram comment page, and it's like, I have the weirdest boner right now. Or like 10 out of 10, like, what the fuck? And I'm like,
those
you
were all
guys
me.
are fucking, like, weird.
Fucking weirdos for sure. It's one thing if you're gonna fuck a Tao's
That's
forehead.
right. That's right. No, but it's so odd to me. Like, you always, like wargaming groups or like magic people or just like sweaty nerds, like, or they're all weebs and like gross and disgusting. And I'm like, no, I'm not like that. Like, I'm normal. I also have life.
I shower.
Right, exactly. I know what deodorant is. And then this shit scrolls across. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. So we just get like 2 days of just these fucking comments of
Oh
just,
my God. And
There
you're
weren't
staring
even
at,
that many.
you're just, but I'm staring
Was
at
it the
these things.
picture?
The
Or-
picture is not overtly
No, it's not.
sexualized at all.
I think it's a robot.
She's got a look in her eyes.
It's you, James.
I told you.
We found the
I
weed.
started this conversation with saying that they were all me in different accounts.
But all I'm trying to say is,
Oh my God.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's the one?
Like, does that speak hypersexualization to you?
No.
Why are you smiling?
Yeah. What's with that look in your eyes, Rio?
What?
Hand check.
Yeah, no,
Hand
huh?
check, Rio.
It blows my mind that all
Oh,
it takes is
man.
like a single
So good.
female picture for all these nerds to lose their minds. Like,
Oh,
it's
there were
just,
21 comments on that line.
Right? Like that is honestly like
and that's just Instagram. Like, the Facebook is its own thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And then
don't
even
even
our
look at that,
Discord,
yeah.
they were talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, right?
Come on.
So I'm staring at it and I'm like, you guys, like, there's no difference between like the actual, I don't know. It was just,
It just made you
I was-
aware of the people that are listening to this.
Yeah, I thought we were above that
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
but apparently we're not.
My brother's, he's like, yeah, I listened to one episode. I'm like, Brand's a cool guy. Maybe all our other fans are like that.
Your mom listened to some, all right?
Oh, fuck. Now the quality just went down again.
We diluted our listener base.
God damn.
Yeah, it just,
It was funny.
It baffled me so much. I was like, the first thing I think of when I see Zumbakir is not like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'd like to feel those tits. It's like, God damn, that's just as scary as everyone else. Like, it was just.
You're so woke, Eric.
It's not being woke.
No.
It's being appropriately scared. That's what it should be. You shouldn't be seeing Shadow Sun in her suit and thinking like, damn, she thick. It should be, oh shit, I'm dead. That should be what you think.
Debatable.
So okay,
I'll debate you on that.
I just want to point out that for the fictional character drawn in a picture,
Yeah.
your argument is it's absurd to be attracted to that drawing, but fully appropriate to be afraid of that drawing.
Because she doesn't represent sexuality and sexualization. There's no intention of her personality and
People
character
have weird
to
fetishes,
be sexual. That's what I'm saying. There's weird people.
Everyone has a weird fetish.
And everyone who is
You have a
sexually
weird
attracted-
fetish. I know it's out there.
Let's
Everyone-
go around the table and talk about our weird
What's
fetishes.
your weirdest fetish?
Eric, you start.
Alaskan pipelines.
Of course, natural. I'm with you, and I wish we could do that together.
Yeah.
Is that a code name for something I'm not
That's
aware
when you
of?
put your butts together
Nope.
Nope.
and you poop.
I also am quite a fan of the double Roman.
Ah,
Me and
yeah,
Christian
okay.
partake in the double Roman.
I see.
Can you
You
explain
like
that
to
to me?
oil up in like some Greco-Roman wrestling?
No.
That's normally what kicks it off, though.
That definitely.
Yeah. Oil up for some Greco-Roman wrestling.
Rio.
Is that what it is?
He's so confused. He's concerned.
There's only one way to learn it.
As
It's
our
through
friend.
Google Image.
He's concerned as our friend right now. Guys, do we need to talk about some of this? All I'm saying is that it wasn't a sexual picture, and it was immediately turned.
And
like,
if you commented, you should feel
that's
bad.
right. That's right. Go scrub your brain, you filthy ingrate.
You're gonna get comments now.
I'll deal with these ones personally.
Next time you post a picture of yourself, they're gonna just.
Oh, okay. I gotta show you the craziest picture of there.
that red beard. I like to get tangled up in that.
I have the weirdest boner right now.
And then I'll show it to my girlfriend, and I'll be like, "See, they want me."
So this is what Brant sent me.
Okay.
I'm gonna post this image to our Facebook page. So if
Oh
you're
my
wondering
god,
where we're
it's Eric.
at. But yeah, so that's
It's not even like it's so close.
You guys shut up. It's not me.
Like that could have been Eric if you told me
Oh.
that somebody caught a photo of Eric.
Classic.
I almost thought it was to start.
there was a picture I found from Modern Family, and it was a picture of I forget the redhead guy's name.
I don't remember his name either.
But it's a picture of him as a child, and he's wearing like short jean shorts and stuff.
Striped shirt. He's like leaning against a rock. He's got a bowl cut.
Yeah, it looked a lot like Eric.
No, but it gets crazier.
So I'm like, oh, like look at this picture your sister showed me, Eric. You're such a loser. I showed Eric that picture of the Modern Family guy as a kid. And Eric bought into it.
I was like, man, I don't remember that, but it really looks like me.
So I'm gonna post both those pictures to our
my
Facebook and Instagram, so you guys can enjoy what Eric looks like in like a slight one reality
Yeah,
over, one step
In the
over.
next
next
reality. Oh boy.
good times. So if you like what we're doing, support us on Patreon.
That's right. Go buy our dice. They're gonna sell out like hotcakes. Remember, you got to pay for the dice and shipping.
Yeah. And seriously, if you got $1 a month, it honestly goes a long way. We are honestly trying to like grow Lorehammer this year, and we want to try to get
take it
going.
serious.
Yeah, like we want to try to take it serious, and we don't want to have to take out a bunch of crazy ads for
We'd
I don't know,
rather
catnip.
Yeah, we'd rather just have the people support us.
So if you can spare it, that would be awesome. Thanks a lot. Oh, good news! We bought a camera and we finally have it.
Yeah, staring right at
no
it.
release on when we're actually going to get the first video episode up, but
we have the technology.
we had the technology. Now we just need the brains.
That's right. Which we are sorely lacking.
It's going to be an ordeal.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're making progress. We're making life happen. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.